to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Megan.
Okay. CBA, Ron Ritchie,
Here.
Ken Zurich,
Here.
David Hayward,
Here.
Neil Wallace.
Here.
And Jim Epping is absent and excused.
Excuse, right. For everybody here, we are joined by our consultant, Megan Mason-Minnick. Our next item is to approve the agenda. I recommend that we move the old business on the rules of procedure to the end of the meeting, because that will take time, and we should get right to the cases and not make them wade through all that boring sort of thing.
Support.
Hold on, and also that's what we were just talking about, we need to make a change to the agenda at case number 3. It has the wrong address in it, 7326 Village Park. That is actually the Ellis Road matter, 8344 Ellis Road. So the agenda should be approved as modified. I would recommend with those two changes.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have an agenda. We're having, for David and Ken, Megan's gonna be looking to make sure that that got noticed properly, that last item.
Okay.
So we'll figure that out before we get to it. Announcements, I don't have any. Does anyone else have any announcements?
No.
Next item up is public comments. Members of the public may comment on matters related to the zoning board of appeals, but not those cases that are before us this evening. Is there anyone who has any comments they'd like to make? Seeing none, we will call the first case, which is case number 26008, requesting a variance from section 5.06A4 to allow the location of a detached accessory structure in front of a principal structure at 8790 Pine Knob Road, which is in the R1R rural residential area. Is the applicant or representative of the applicant here?
I believe that the applicant had corresponded with us that, because there was a problem with the notice and there are 2 cases that actually need to be for the ZBA, they would like to be on the September ZBA for both of those and have it properly noticed. And so when I had when there was an email back and forth with them today, that they did not, they said they wouldn't be attending the meeting.
Good, that was my notion, is that we should be handling it comprehensively anyway. I think you suggested that because we had noticed a public hearing, but if there's anybody here that wishes to speak to the matter of 8790 Pine Knob Road, now would be the time. Seeing none, we can move on.
Well, can we make sure we have, I'm not sure if these are new pieces of information or if this was part of our original, but I have 2 more letters in front of me and I didn't get a chance to surf to see if these are repeats or new.
Are these Pine Knob Road? I thought
Yes.
Okay.
Item 1 on the case, new business.
We can read those into the record at the next time we hear it.
Well,
I just wanted to make sure.
Can anybody tell me if these are new or these are
I
already in
think one of
our-
them is new.
Okay,
That was not in the packet.
okay.
And then there's one that you have there on the desk that it actually is regarding Ellis Road.
Right,
Okay.
I think Megan said the one dated July 29th is the new.
is the new one.
Because that came in after the packet was.
Okay.
So we will have that case on for September. Item 2, case number 26009, 3 total variances. A variance from section 5.06A4 to allow the location of a detached accessory structure in front of a principal structure. 2, a variance from 506A4, table 506-2, to allow an accessory structure height to be 26 feet 9 inches when the maximum is 16 feet. And the third variance is a variance from section 506, table 506-1, to allow the floor area of an accessory structure to be 3,072 square feet when a maximum of 2,966.6 square feet is allowed. This is for 7660 Holcomb Road, which is in the R1R rural residential area. Is there someone here to speak for the applicant? Please go up to the lectern and give us your name and address.
Hello, Brian Burnham with the NATO Group, 8031 Ortonville Road, Clarkson, Michigan, 48348. So on behalf of the property owner here, again asking for 3 area variances. The first is regarding the location of the structure. Due to the nature of the existing topography, wetlands, electrical power line, septic field, hard landscaping, there's a limited location for the proposed structure. So we are proposing it to be off of Holcomb Road in front of the main principal building. Also, this location will limit the amount of impervious surface on the site. The second variance we are seeking is a height variance. So the median height of the accessory building will actually be 19 feet 8.5. So we are requesting a 3 foot 8.5 variance for the building. In addition to this, the proposed location of the building will be about 10 feet lower than Holcomb Road because of the topography on the site. And lastly, we are seeking a allowable floor area of the structure of 105.4 square feet. This is in keeping with, complements the main principal building and has similar accessory, or sizes of the accessory buildings in the area.
Our charge here is to determine what practical difficulties there are to either changing the location in conformance with the ordinance, and both elements of the size. Can you outline for us what you think the practical difficulties are?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is just based on the existing site. So there's electrical lines, power lines running through the middle of the site. There's an existing septic field and hard landscaping in the back of the site. And then there's significant topo elevation, and there's a large wetland area on the site. So based on the site plan that was submitted, there's really only one proper location for the building.
Okay, that's the location.
Yeah, location.
The location doesn't require that you make it higher and larger than what our
Yeah,
ordinance.
so for the square footage, variances and the height is based on the proposed use for the accessory building. So the proposed use is going to be a half basketball court and for adequate storage. So that is driving the 3 feet 8.5 variance for the height to accommodate that, and then also for the square footage of the building of an additional 105.4 square feet.
Mr. Zurich, any questions of the applicant?
Yeah, I'm
Or
a little-
comments?
A little confused here. The height variation is, you're saying it's based on the elevation of Holcomb Road, correct? Or,
No, what I'm stating is the median height of the structure is 19.8.5. So the allowable height is 16, so we're asking for a 3 foot 8.5, but the location of the structure is approximately 8 feet lower than Holcomb Road because of the topography on the site.
Okay.
And that's shown on the survey that was submitted.
so on our meeting notice, it says it's 26 feet tall.
That is to the very, very top of the roof ridge.
Okay, so the correct height should be,
19.8.5 to the median height.
And that's in our report.
And that, yeah.
On that, excuse me if I may, Ken, on the diagram that you submitted, the survey, it refers to this building as a shed?
Yeah, accessory building, shed, detached garage.
But it's a basketball court.
It's gonna be a half basketball court inside and storage.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ken. Please.
no, so the inside ceiling, you know, the truss or whatever is holding the roof up, the
Yes.
inside height of the truss will be what?
So at the roof ridge, that will be 26.9, and then at the eave, so the outermost part, would be 12.8. So the median of that height is 19.8.5.
And I'm hoping I got the right screen here. The garage door is 12 foot high?
At the proposed, elevation right now, yes. Just to allow adequate, daylighting in there and then be able to open the door for natural air, breeze.
So you're trying to do an indoor half court or something?
Yes.
I want to hear from the owner. So, I'm Andy Donato, Donato Group. It'd be good for Tim to explain. You'll see he's 6'6". He's training his son to be a basketball player.
Yeah, maybe some more context on the intended use. So,
Yeah.
I've got a son who's going to be a sophomore at Clarkson High. Pretty serious basketball prospective player. So, think of a basketball shot and the arc it would take so as not to hit the ceiling. So that's why we're asking for the higher variance for the ceiling height interior. But basically, it's a combination of a half-court basketball with storage for a vehicle and a boat is pretty much the proposed project. I think the way you're explaining it is that because the site where the pole barn or shed would go is 8 to 10 feet lower than Holcomb Road, even though the barn itself is higher than what's allowable by the ordinance, it would appear lower from the street level.
Right.
I think that's
Yeah.
what we're trying to express.
Yep.
Does that help to give some more context?
Is it the boat, or I forget what else you said you wanted to store in there? A boat and,
A boat and a vehicle?
okay. Are they what require the 12-foot door?
The boat would not require a 12-foot door. I think that, I haven't measured the top of the boat, but it's taller than I am, so probably 8 feet. And the boat on the trailer.
Well,
So it would be a larger door than your typical, vehicle garage door.
And I'm still struggling with this computer for some reason today. There are no letters objecting to this right now? Is that correct? I don't see
I
anything,
didn't
right?
see it.
I didn't, no, there isn't any correspondence.
I guess I'm trying very hard to listen to what you're saying about the basketball court inside, and I'm thinking that I might be able to support that, but maybe the square foot needs to be put back in check. I guess I'm done for right now.
I guess
Mrs.
just-
Hayward?
I'm looking at, and I do have a couple questions for you. So,
Sure.
aside from the size of it, did you consider any other locations? Because it looks like it could fit within the building envelope, or is there any place you could build it without having a variance as far as the location?
I think we did look at that.
Yeah.
Are they looking at the same
Yes,
diagram
yes,
that I'm
they
looking at
have
here?
this, yeah.
Okay. So if you look at what would be like the northeast corner of the lot, that was one alternate location that we considered.
Mhm.
And because there's an existing hard landscaped fire pit area back there, that would be difficult to, well, it has like a small retaining wall around it because of the slope to the land. That would be a cost to incur to move that, to put the barn back there. Not to mention it'd be a much longer driveway to access the back of the property. And then if you notice the wetland area in the middle of the property, we had a wetland delineation survey done to make sure that we were, the appropriate setback from that. So really the best location is where it's proposed in terms of being reasonably close to the house. and not impinging on the wetland or the existing landscaping that we have in the back of the
Yep,
yard.
and that septic field's in the back of
And the
yard,
septic
too,
field in the back of the
so.
yard also.
Right, so, but it would fit back there if you were to remove the landscaping area, landscaped area?
I would defer to you guys. I think it probably would.
Probably would, but then, I mean, also.
I'm not sure about the boundary setbacks.
Yeah. And also, I mean, as Tim said, you know, it would be a significant drive, so a lot of impervious, you know, surface on the site, which we're trying to minimize that. So that's why we're proposing this location, abutting up against the wetland setback, you know, pushing it as far back from Holcomb Road as possible. There's also existing trees along Holcomb Road that'll be maintained, so that'll provide some privacy and screening of the structure. And again, also, you know, the fact that it's 10 feet below Holcomb Road too.
Yeah, I understand what the reasons why you want it there, but when we look at the application of the ordinance, which states that, part of that is that if there's an alternate place that you can put that we don't grant a variance for that. When you do have a spot in the back corner, the fact that you have hardscape there, or hard landscape there, is not part of how we make the decision on this. We would know that you would have to remove that anyway, so it could fit there. And then that starts, sorry, excuse me. Should have brought some water with me. So now it starts weighing into personal preference versus practical problems with your property. So, which is actually part of the land, which I understand the wetland portion, which is all well drawn out on this. But my concern is allowing it to be put where it is. And then also the other concern is, and I don't know if we're getting into a different type of a variance to allow something just to be bigger because you want it bigger. Wanting it bigger for a reason that is not regarding the land, and that's what we look at as the practical difficulty of the land, to allow something to be bigger. And based on the questions that have already been asked, I don't think I have any further questions at this point. Thank you.
Ron?
And I guess I was interested, since you said there's gonna be a half-court basketball court in the inside there. I take it there's gonna be like electrical power and maybe heat in there for.
There would be
winter time?
electrical power for sure. Heat, I guess we haven't gotten to the specifics on how that would work, but if I have any sort of a wooden floor, I would want to have temperature control. If it's gonna be a multi-surface, you know, rubberized type floor, I could probably be more limited with heating and cooling.
What
So
about
I think,
What about water or other utilities?
well, that kind of factors into how close it is to the house. So if it's close enough to the house, there may not be a need for that. If it's further back towards the back of the property, I think that's something we would probably want to try to consider. But I think the first obstacle was to make sure that we can have the appropriate location and size of the footprint of the building.
Megan, can you call up slide 51 on this big screen?
I guess the other thing, the nomenclature used on the application, everything is a shed, garage, and, you know, you start putting heat, and other utilities in the unit, it becomes more than just an accessory structure, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would call it a pole barn, but I'm not, you know, the architectural designer, so.
Page 50 is the one with the site plan, are you
Yeah,
looking for
I'm just trying
the
to,
building itself?
it should come in a second.
Site plan, right there.
Like, oh, that one.
Can you zoom in on that, or? I hate using this software.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. This is
Yeah, I just am questioning whether, if it's practical to actually put it in the back like that, given contour and access and property line, I guess.
Hard to see that.
Yeah, and I'm having trouble with my
Yeah. mine's
screen. I
not.
don't know why did something change? Did we use new software or something? Or?
No, it's,
Need to borrow a mouse? Does that help you?
Oh.
And there's an
No,
extra.
for
Yeah.
Megan, yeah, I can see.
Take a look right
it's
here.
more my computer's not responding. I'm gonna stop the share and see if I can make it bigger and then do that again.
Did you have something more?
No, I guess I answered most of my questions. Just, to me, it sounds like it's called a shed, but it could be getting closer and closer to a living structure. So.
Yeah. So, we have standards in our ordinance that we're supposed to follow, and that's what Mr. Hayward was alluding to. And one of those, that we have to make a determination that the characteristics that make compliance with the dimensional requirements shall not be of a personal nature. So I struggle with that because that's what it seems like this is to me. This is something personal to you and not characteristic of the property. This one I have no problem with, but there also we must make a determination that there are exceptional characteristics of the property for which the variance is sought, but make compliance with the dimensional requirements substantially more difficult than would be the case for a great majority of the properties in the same district. One of the tests of what I just said is there a good alternative? And that's what Mr. Hayward was alluding to. And it looks like there's an alternative that complies, at least with respect to the location. I'm troubled by the size as well. We're putting something in front that is not de minimis. And I don't know how long ago it was. I think just last year we had somebody who had already built a shed, just a little storage shed on the front of their property. And we denied that, even though it was existing. And that wasn't anywhere near the size that this is. So this is a big thing for us to try and shoehorn into the requirements that we're supposed to follow.
If I may, I would add that I think the alternate location that we're talking about would not be a practical place to put the shed/pole barn because of, number one, the distance to the back of the property would be more impervious surface added because of a driveway. And the existing landscape, which there's some money invested in that, would have to be removed to put the new structure on top of that or in its place. So that, in my mind, that's what makes it impractical. I realize we're asking for a variance on the location and the height. The square footage is a small variance, and if that's a major factor, I think we can be flexible with that third request. But for the use of the building, the height is something that is really important because of the using that as half-court basketball.
Because of the nature of the use.
Yeah. Normally, I wouldn't want to build it that big, but, you know, the things we do for our kids, so.
Yeah. That also suggests to me that it's kind of temporary in nature. I mean, he's gonna go away to school in not too many years. It's gonna go fast.
We hope.
Yeah.
Still would serve a purpose as storage for boat, vehicle, recreational.
Sure, but
vehicles, et
without the
cetera.
need for the height.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can be done in the truss. You can build it more like a A-frame to get some height in the center of the court.
I think you're talking about using scissor trusses anyways to allow for higher ceiling height, right?
I apologize, but I think I finally got up what you wanted.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, we're thinking it goes behind the little yellow shed that's back there, or in front of that?
Well, and
Do they not have this diagram?
they do, that's on
Okay.
on the second sheet.
But I like this diagram because it
You
shows
want to
a
just walk over
change,
and show
the contour of the land.
This is where the building is proposed to go, right here, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But in the back right is
He's
what's there
asking you about the
proposed.
fire pit.
The
I'm
existing
asking where are you thinking it's going, Mark?
Where it's going or where?
Where it might
could
be able to go.
Let me just pull the picture up here, I'll show you. Okay, you can't see on the contouring, so. That shed is another, I think that's it, right in this area here. Because if this is their septic field here, so it's that in there.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be 75 feet in from the back
Mhm.
property
But is that the
line.
property line?
Kind of shed.
No, I'm gonna show you on a different picture.
It's got wood in it?
75 right there, right?
Right, yeah,
Picture there.
It looks like they looked
Oh.
at that as a proposed.
Oh, huh. Is that?
What's
well,
the,
that's not-
what's the dotted line there, in front of the fire pit? It's like a rectangle, dotted rectangle there.
That's the septic field, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the septic field.
Septic field, okay, it shows the tank.
Oh, so that's it here.
Okay.
Here you go. So this area here.
Right.
That's what I'm, and this is the building envelope here. So this, everything within inside here can be all built, and this certainly meets the setback for the wetlands and the side and rear yard. He just prefer not to remove his fire pit in the landscape there, I think is what he's saying. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would prefer not to, but I think also access to the building back there, if you look at where the drive would potentially go, would be pretty close to that wetland area. So I think that was another
Yeah,
reason that we.
I think it could physically go there, but it's not really practical, I don't think.
No, not with practical access out of
So,
back there.
again, I'm not sure if we want to deny or what, but I think the square footprint is a no from my point of view. I kind of like the location that's up towards Holcomb Road. It's down in the valley. There's already kind of an opening in the tree line there. I don't think there'll be very much damage to the trees. And then I'm struggling with the height. That's where I'm sitting at. And I don't know if we need to open it up to.
I'm just about to do that.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the audience here that would like to be heard on this matter? Do we have anybody online, Megan? I can't tell. I didn't see anything.
No, I don't think we have anybody else, but I will check.
So that brings it back to us. I'm having difficulty fitting this into the requirements that we're supposed to meet.
Including the location?
Particularly the location. I think.
Particularly?
I think so. I'm not crazy about the height either. I mean, I understand why it is, but then that's back to the restriction that it's not supposed to be, the difficulty's not supposed to be personal in nature, and it is. It's a very specific use.
The height?
The height,
Yes, I agree. I agree, and I'm struggling with the height
okay.
and the square foot.
Yeah, he said he could, and I
We could-
think
yeah,
the
we
square
could-
foot isn't that far off.
Yeah,
Yeah, understand.
He could do something about that, so I think it's the height and the location.
And are you sure you can't put a beam across something across it to support the roof and still get some arc on your follow shots for, in the center of the court?
I mean, either way,
Defer to you on that one.
yeah, I think, the total height that we're asking for is at the peak. And I mean, to allow for enough height for a basketball net, I think that's what's required.
There may never be
Whether
enough
it's
height.
a beam or, yeah.
If
Huh?
what would the median height be, or the peak height if the median height was 16 rather than 19.8? Do we have an idea?
So, I mean,
Well, still, we're asking, the median height, we're asking for a 3.5 variance.
Right.
Right, so,
So what we could do is just either gambrel roof, or we can make it nearly flat, and then that'll change the median height, you get 3 more feet out of it, it ain't gonna look the best, but if that's what we're forced into, that's what we'll do.
Or could you drop the floor lower so that the building isn't?
If you're next to a wetland, that would.
yeah, no, deal with flooding
That's
issues
a
like that.
good idea.
I suspect that the height is more important to you than the location.
I if you're asking me to decide between the two, I don't know.
I'm just
I think they're
asking a
of
question.
Of equal importance, I think.
What's that?
I think they're of equal importance. I think it would be impractical to build it in the back of the property based on the drive access, the existing hardscape, the setbacks from the neighbor's property. The height, I suppose we could find a way to adjust the design, I don't know.
A little
But
bit
we have to
grand out,
look
we
at
have
that.
to see what they.
I could show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There again, if they change the design of the building, then, the neighbors or whatever might object to that again, so I guess I'd be afraid to approve the height and then not know what the look of the building's gonna be as well, then.
Well, we wouldn't be approving the height, it would have to be within the township requirement.
Well, I'm just saying if we
Or,
grant a
or a
variance.
lesser variance,
Or a lesser variance.
right. So you're saying that the practical difficulties of locating this behind, other than being hemmed in by that wetland, is that it's just too far to the back of your property? That's the difficulty with this?
Other than being hemmed in by the wetland, yeah, I think that the access drive would have to go through the wetland setback or very close to it, based
Yeah.
on that diagram.
Yeah, in between the house and the wetlands, there's not a lot of room there. It would be, I mean, close to a 250-foot drive of impervious surface. We're trying to maintain as much natural, existing landscaping that's there, and also, dealing with the existing hardscape landscaping in the back,
Well,
which isn't just a fire pit.
it wouldn't have to be impervious surface. And then secondly, I don't know if the same, and I know somebody from the building department's here as far as the setback goes for putting in a driveway versus a structure. So, so those probably have, I don't know, if, Chad, if you could answer that for me?
I was having a hard time hearing.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Could you come on up?
Can you come up?
He's got a question for you.
Who's Chad?
Is this
Deputy
the building department?
Deputy Building Department. No, I just had a question regarding driveway versus next to wetland.
Setback.
Is there any setbacks for a driveway next to a wetland?
Not that I'm aware of. I would have to double check with
Okay.
Brian, but
Typically, that's just structure? Okay, thank you.
Are you thinking about the setback from the wetland?
I'm thinking about,
Or using the outer edge of the property as the drive?
well, either way, in looking at it, I think either way could be used as the drive, but the point they were making about is the drive couldn't go next to the wetland, but there's no ordinance or there's no setback for a driveway when it comes to a wetland. As long as you're not built on top of it, but there's no,
Mhm.
you can go right up to it with a driveway. And not necessarily has to be impervious either, so it could be dirt, gravel, yeah,
Now, there's a block you can,
sure.
that allows growth to come up.
A dirt or gravel driveway is difficult to clear snow and ice from in the wintertime for moving vehicles in and out. There is a slope, so if the driveway was placed there, there's quite a slope going down from Holcomb Road down to where the drive would go. So the thought was to have a paved surface so that it could be easily cleared and maintained if I'm accessing vehicle in and out of the barn during cold weather or icy or snowy weather.
So the thing is, you're asking basically for permission to not abide by our rules. The rules are consistent and, rules that were established for a reason, not just randomly. And to overcome that, we're supposed to, again, hit these certain stipulations, and I'm struggling with them. It seems like an awful big building to be sitting right on the roadway there, and that's sort of the whole point. I don't know where the rest of the ZBA is. If anybody's got a motion, the chair certainly would entertain it.
I'll give a motion. I'm moving case number 26-009 to deny the requested variances, all three, for a location for a detached accessory structure, a variance from section 506A4 to allow a structure to be a height of 26 feet 9 inches with 16 feet the maximum height, and a variance from section 5.06, table 5.06-1 to allow the floor area of an accessory structure to be 3,700 or 3,072 square feet when a maximum of 2966.6 feet is allowed at 7660 Holcomb Road. The applicant has not demonstrated the following required standards. That the characteristics relate to the property rather than another property. Oh, I'm sorry, that is okay. I'm gonna strike that. That the characteristics are not of a personal nature. They're looking for the height out of personal preference. The characteristics were not created by current or previous owner. That does not apply. That the proposal will not be harmful or alter essential area, does not apply. But the request is the minimum necessary, and no solution exists that would not require a variance. So I believe that this could be built to the proper size according to our variance and located within the building envelope.
Is there support? I'll support the motion. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Megan, would you do a roll call for us?
Ron Ritchie,
Yes.
Ken Zerk,
No.
David Hayward.
Yes.
Neil Wallace.
Yes.
So the motion to deny is approved 3-1.
Thank you. It is a struggle for us. I think and hope you understand what, where our constraints are and the requirements we're supposed to meet. And maybe you could figure out something from the reactions you've had from us today. Thank
All
you.
right, appreciate your time and
Just to
consideration.
be clear though, as it relates to, you said something at the end there, to be built in the building envelope.
Yes.
That's part of this, right? So you're saying that in the
Well,
right
there-
size, it can be built in the envelope we have it at. But we'd still need a variance, obviously,
No. So
because
the
we're
var-
right up against the setback.
None of the variances were granted.
That's my point. But
Right.
you said it can be built within the building envelope.
Yeah, in the backyard where the landscape is.
Gotcha.
It can be
Which is a
built there.
hardship. You can
It-
define it not as a hardship, but in my
That- but
opinion, it is.
that's a personal nature, so how that's
Right.
looked at is it's a personal choice to not remove it. It's not based on the land, you created that problem, so how it's looked at is, was that created by you, that difficulty? Yes, it was, because you put the landscape there,
I
so
don't
that's how the
think it
law
was-
looks
came
at
that way.
it.
You bought it that way? or
No, I put the fire pit in myself.
Thank
And
you
it doesn't
very-
matter, it could have been created by the prior
David.
owner as well, so.
That's-
Yeah, all right,
Thank you
thank you.
very much. Calling the next case, which is 26010, requesting a variance from 5.06A4 to allow the location of a detached accessory structure in front of a principal structure at 8344 Ellis Road, which is
Mr.
in R1R Rural Residential. Yes, Megan?
Mr. Chair, I looked at the postcards that were the notice, and it did, unfortunately, it had the incorrect address.
It has the Village Park address?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We certainly can't make any decision then, this evening. I suppose that it seems like there's an awful lot of folks here that would like to be heard. It wasn't properly noticed. It's interesting that all of you got notice or heard about it in some form or fashion. With the indulgence of the rest of the board.
Were the notices sent out to the right addresses? I
The
think they were.
notices were sent out to the right addresses,
Right.
but bearing the wrong address for the property.
I don't know what actually
Is that
was
true?
taken.
That's what she-
I
Right.
just knew what it was.
Yeah,
And in the packets as well, I think it shows where the public, the listings were for the notices for those I think are aired as well.
It showed up in the agenda, and that's what threw me off.
Yeah.
But then as I looked through, I didn't look at the notices, I didn't think to, that was Ron's catch. So we can't make a decision this evening. We'll hear the whole thing again next month when it's properly noticed.
Well,
I don't know.
what I'm worried about is two things. One
Okay.
is there's a lot of people here,
Yeah,
and two, what are the, if there's a significant probability that we would decline the application, then we should maybe say that tonight. If there's a possibility that we would accept it, then you have to table it.
we for sure couldn't decide to grant the variances. It's an interesting question as to whether we could decide to deny the variance when it's not properly noticed. I suppose that somebody in support of it could say that they didn't get proper notice. We do have all these folks here. We could have a presentation. I would leave it to the pleasure of the board.
Megan, question, is this a legal concern? I mean, not legal, but you know what I mean, this is obviously a concern, this is proper procedure that it
Yeah,
didn't
no.
get noticed. My question is that I don't know if it would be appropriate to hear the presentation.
Well, I think we could hear the presentation. We have
Okay.
to make it all over again, probably
Right.
next month. We've got these folks here. I think they'd like to be heard.
Okay.
It's not their fault.
Yeah, I'm
And we
not-
really can't hear from them without hearing from the applicant.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to
But I
hearing,
don't
but-
think we can make a decision either way,
Right,
actually.
you're right, so,
It's an unusual circumstance. I've never
You-
heard of this
Yeah.
or seen it happen before.
they would probably have to rehear it anyway, I would think, especially if somebody's not here, or the chair would have to recuse himself because he wasn't here for this, or unless they're gonna redo it regardless, so, and then.
Well, that's certainly true. There is a matter of the chair being here next month and having to do it all over again.
Right, or recuse himself, which I prefer to,
No, yeah.
Have everybody
It's whether
attendance,
you use
so-
anything here
From
tonight.
here.
You know, it's really information, but if we use something we heard tonight,
Correct. I
um,
agree.
and then.
Especially
we could be
looking over
crossing the
these
line there,
rules
so.
that we've, have to look at this evening,
yeah.
at least going forward. He would have to recuse himself even though
Well,
he'd be
yeah,
hearing
we-
the whole case in substance. Yeah, Megan.
If you chose to hear from people tonight, it would be reflected in the minutes, and you could use those minutes as an exhibit when you rehear the case
I
in
don't think our
September.
minutes are typically that robust.
It's true,
He would have the opportunity to review the tape.
true.
So, and we haven't yet adopted these rules of procedure which would preclude him. I think there was a criticism of the zoning board of appeals for somebody coming in late and still sitting on the matter, but they were all of 30 seconds late or something. So I wouldn't want to face that again. I didn't think that was appropriate, but what do you think about that, Ron? That he would
Yeah.
have an opportunity to?
Well, I think as long as, whatever happens tonight, if we can use that, like you say, if the chair can review the minutes of the meeting, and then still
And it
move
may be
forward
that the
with-
applicant and/or the neighbors would have some feedback that they would find useful.
Right.
So why don't we proceed with the understanding we are not going to make a decision this evening? Right, is it somebody here on behalf of the applicant? Up to the lectern, please. Sorry, this is definitely our mistake.
Definitely unusual.
Yeah,
I'm Mike Riddle, Rising Construction from Ortonville, 301 Huff Lake Court. I'm here on behalf of the owner, which I have the owner with me. I don't know where you'd like me to start with this, because normally you guys would
No,
say what
I-
we're doing, and
we'd
but
like
we
to-
would like to present, to
Yeah.
get feedback since we're here.
well, yep, and you are, why don't you tell us about the variances? It's really just the one variance, and it seems we're having a rash of these. I think we've only seen one in the last 2 years, and now tonight we have 3 where the accessory structure is gonna be in the front yard. But that's your principal variance that you're requesting, correct?
Yes, we actually, well, we have a couple things we're asking for, but primary is to allow the existing barn to stay in the existing location, build a new home in the back of the property, and while we're building the new home, the home in the, up front of the property is rented, so we were hoping to allow the barn to stay where it is, plus allow to fix up the barn, and then the new house, and then before they would take occupancy in the new house, the old house would be taken down, but during construction, we would try to work it out with you.
That is,
which-
that part's definitely not before us, the idea that you could rent this out and.
No, it's already read, so how this all started, they purchased the
Excuse me,
property.
just let me finish,
Sorry.
okay?
Yep, you got
What
it.
is not before us is whether there can be 2 homes on one property for any period of time. That is a building department decision, and is not anything the zoning board of appeals does.
Okay, and we went to the building department, I'm bringing it up because that's what we discussed with the building department a couple times.
That's
So I'm just
fine.
bringing it up.
I guess
so-
it's appropriate for our understanding, but it isn't something that I'm aware of that we can decide either way.
Okay, that's
That's a
fine, I was
building
just trying to
department.
give you the whole perspective.
Yep, I appreciate that.
So, is it possible for you guys to put that on the screen, the site plan?
Sure, Megan.
It might be helpful, that's why I'm
Sure.
bringing it up.
Let Megan do it first time. Who says you're not an IT whiz?
That's a long driveway.
So, may I approach?
Certainly.
Okay. So the property is 10.5 acres. If this were blown up with the aerial, you would see that the way this all started, we came to the building department multiple times trying to make sure we could have everything and be on the same page. There's an easement that comes back right here on this property, and there's a home right here, and this comes back to another property here. Originally, the owners purchased this property because there's an existing house, an existing pole barn on the property, and the road frontage meets the criteria for for this to become its own parcel and leave the house and the barn together, bring an easement back, split it, and have the acreage in the back, which is exactly what's next door. We approached the township on that, and as we did, they asked if there was any consideration where potentially we remove this house, keep the existing barn, put in our new house, and keep it as one large lot. So the owners who bought it for the other reason decided, hey, we want to be in the community, we want to work with everybody, let's go down this path. So this path was, this would be, I know it's not, it's the building department, but this home would be removed. The existing barn would stay in the location it's been for 50, 60 years, I don't know how long, but a long time.
Over
It's still-
50.
How long?
Over 50.
Okay, 50, thank you. So it wouldn't change the character of what people have been going by for years. It would stay right in the same proposed area.
Well, except you're enlarging it.
We wanted to, per the code, enlarge it as to what you would allow if, for a structure. We not necessarily, we asked for this because that's what the allowable square footage potentially could be. So that's why we asked for that. We would like to keep it in this location. This would be the new drive. This is the new house area, which we already submitted as they asked us to. We already submitted for a building permit while we were doing this to kind of keep it rolling. It's denied based on this meeting, but we've already been working with them, setting all this up to kind of move forward. In the meantime, this is the primary septic field, which sits down, if you look at elevation, sits down below the basement, gravity fed. And the secondary field is back here behind the house, if there was ever a reserve. So one of our things is, first of all, we'd like to keep the barn because the barn was existing and it's still the character of the neighborhood. Second of all, if we were to try to put a barn in the back, we have grades, huge grades here that we can't really work with because you've got 15, 16-foot elevation changes. And then over in this area here, we have a reserve field if this were ever to fail. I perked it with Oakland County, and these were the locations that we came up with Oakland County and Keith Engineering. So putting a barn, you know, tearing this barn down too, and having to put it way in the back besides, I don't know what that does with health and safety. I know as this sits in the review, health and safety, it's not a concern, and it all works based on the summary. So we were asking to move forward with the existing barn, being able to stay within the confines of what, no variance. We wouldn't ask for height or size variances over and above what you would allow.
Just the location.
Just the location, that's all we're asking for. And then again, they would like to, and we've already designed the house, we're going through all the process. We have a new residence here that we believe conforms with the neighborhood and the township and the city. So I can answer anything else you'd like me to answer, but that's our primary goal here. And we have been working with, you know, coming in and working on the plans and working with the township.
Yeah, we weren't informed of any of that very specifically. I have a question as to why, and I understand you're far along now and all the work you put into it, but why can't the house have been closer to the road to allow for the accessory structure to be in the back?
Well, the house would have to be here, and the answer is, we felt that, well, two things, like I said, as this started, the home was gonna stay, the barn was gonna stay, and we would meet the 4-to-1 depth ratio, the size of the lot, and the access. It would be, we would have come and asked for the variance for the easement, like exactly what's next door, which I have on an aerial right there. And as we were doing that, and we were talking to the building department, they felt there could be potentially, we have to come here, but a compromise, we're allowing it to stay where it is, get rid of the house and build a new house, and this is where they would like to put the house. These grade changes, you can't put the house, and then these are our fields, so I don't, that's pretty much my answer, I don't know how to describe it. I mean,
Who in the building department were you working with?
We were working with Brian.
Okay.
I'm sorry, tell me your name again.
My name is Mike Riddle, R-I-D-D-L-E.
Riddle. Mr. Riddle, can you look at your diagram? There is, right in front of the house is the 90 elevation in front of the house, marked 90.
Yep, right there.
What do you think the distance is between the front of the house and that 90 mark? What would you estimate?
Here?
Yep.
Go
I mean,
back.
just, well, that's fine. Or
I could look and just scale it real quick.
I thought you could just scale it off what you see.
Well, I don't know if this is to any scale.
No, but you got a number on the side of the house, don't you?
Well, I have a lot of numbers on the side of the house,
Okay.
so that's 33 feet.
Okay.
That's, to that elevation from here is 33 to 40 feet.
Okay, so do you think, what I'm driving at is, and you heard it in the previous cases,
Yep.
the question's gonna be, why can't you put that behind the house? Okay, and this is what I'm trying to get at. So
Yep.
if we move the house forward 33 feet, does it look like the new barn, the new box, could fit off the, if you will, the T-handle of the drive
Here?
behind, right there?
Yeah, no, that's a hole. Goes straight down. Goes, that area there is 88, 90, down to 86 in that area, and drops to 84 to 82, so it kind of drops down into a hole.
But the house is gonna be,
How, that's the drive that we would create. Of course, we're gonna have to, you know,
you're gonna cut into the side?
we have to cut into it. Yeah, it goes, that piece of property rolls up,
Yeah.
rolls down,
Yeah.
and rolls way back up again.
Okay,
So when you're back up into here, you're at 96. This is going straight up this way. We got a reserve field, that's the only, these are the places that have hurt. And then that rolls down, and it goes all the way down to 80.
right, but the driveway is gonna be at what height?
This driveway right here is about,
Go closer to the house.
well, it's gonna be 1090 is what it says right here.
So you're gonna be coming
So you're gonna be
uphill.
going like this, up a rise.
So even if you split the property, you'd had to have the variance if you wanted to retain the barn.
So if we were to have gone down that path, which again, I have on that aerial that would match right next door, the barn here this would have actually all fit and met all the criteria. The only thing would have been the access to the parcel in the back.
I did, it's a pretty broad conclusion, so you would leave the existing house. If you were to
If we
split the
kept-
property.
If we came across, we did our, I don't have this in front of me because I didn't know what we're talking about, but we had a road frontage, which we do, and our width to depth 4:1, and we met our acreage.
Yeah, I'm just asking this question.
Yes,
The existing house would stay under your plan to split the property,
correct.
okay? And the barn would stay?
Yeah, the plan would have been, and when we first came in.
And where would the house be on the, what is that, the northerly
This?
parcel? Yeah.
Yeah, this would have been, and I could, again, go look, but approximately the same easement that was allowed right here. And then the lot line would have been about here. This would have met the criteria from what we understand working with the
So it's
building
a front to
department.
back split.
And then this would have been a drive, and that house would have been right in the same spot. So that's what we were going after, because this, I know it's not financial, but to them, it's quite the investment. To already have a house, a barn, could easily split it and have a nice parcel in the back to build on,
What
be
are the
within
pro-
our envelope.
What are the proposed uses for the barn?
The proposed use is just their implements and personal storage, and Carol could answer that, but it's just, the barn's existing. We, on their behalf, we don't have to have the barn this large. I just said if you're going back in front of the ZBA, you might as well ask for what is allowable, and then whatever we decide here. What we're trying to do is keep this barn and renovate it. It's still, you've probably been by the site, it's all in good condition, but we'd like to update it to look like the beautiful home that's going in the back, which is on the elevations of the building plans, which I have here in front of me.
So, may I interrupt? So, talking out loud to us a little bit.
Yep.
So, if we stay with their existing plan to tear down the old house.
Yes.
And maybe they go back to the drawing board and next month, they double check what it would take to put the new structure in back. What would be our position of leaving the old structure? Or to the homeowner, would you tear it down if you were able to find a way to put the new structure behind the house?
The new shed?
The new
or
shed, the new
barn?
pole barn or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Should I repeat it, or am I getting too far into the weeds?
Well, it sounded like you'd said something about keeping both houses, and I think that
No.
you can't have two residences
No,
on the property.
no. Well, they have to split it.
Yeah, we'd go back to
No,
when
I'm
we
talking about
started.
the current plan that they're trying to
Yeah.
present to us, is
Right.
there's no house in the old house, but there's still an old barn.
Mr. Hayward, questions or comments?
I'll have more next week, or next month. I mean, I have,
Guess I'm a little confused on, in the packet, it kind of shows the cutout. here,
Potential
like,
split?
yeah, so I mean, if that's off, then I guess that some of this data is misleading.
It might give us an opportunity your feedback might be useful, Mr. Ritchie or Mr. Hayward,
Yeah.
to them, if, for some
May I
reason.
ask
you can-
Well,
Yeah.
Question?
I just.
Sure, hold on.
Yep.
Because it might change how you're gonna answer.
Yeah.
But our original intent when we first came to the
Could
township.
you go back to the lectern now, just because we want to make sure we're picking up your voice, particularly
Yeah.
since Jim's on.
Yeah. So, when we originally came into the building department, we had our aerial that shows the piece of property. And on that aerial, it also shows the neighboring parcel right next door, which we were like, oh, well, we should be able, we felt, to do, can I approach, or can you,
Sure.
you know what I'm talking about? So, this is our parcel in red, right here. This is the existing house and the existing barn. This is the neighbor, and this is the neighbor, and they have a barn, a house. They have an easement that goes back to a barn, and a house and a barn. So, that being the case, we were like, well, why don't we just do the same thing? Access back, bring a lot line, meet the criteria, so we meet all the setbacks and everything that is required.
I think we get all that.
Yep, and then we would just bring our house back here, we wouldn't, at that point, alls we asked for is a split in a house, we didn't even ask for a barn, because they would own this on a separate Sidwell parcel and tax ID.
Well, the problem with that plan, whether you went through it with it or not, is that you can't create a non-conforming lot. And now, once you have that easement with a driveway back, that's part of your property. If it would be a conforming lot, I don't know exactly how that works with easement, but regardless, and I know that's not what we're talking about here, but.
Well, that's what brought us here, so
Right.
this could have been conforming based
Right.
on.
That
our
may be
meetings.
something Mr. Hayward could.
Right, that's.
I mean,
From the
yeah,
building
yeah, so the
department.
reason
Yeah,
I
what
bring
was
it
yours?
up, because.
What was your point?
My question is, I shouldn't even have gone there, I guess, but, so really, essentially, what you're really asking for is a 4,652 square foot variance, is really what you're asking for, because.
No, it's the location, not the size.
Yeah, I'm just asking for the
Well-
location. Not asking, the size is what is
Well,
you're allowed to have. We didn't ask for anything above
Right.
that.
I think because of the size of the.
I'm looking at it like that, so it's kind of what we're, you're asking us to authorize, so it takes away from the existing barn I get, but to add another 3,000, like the same concern you had, is to add another 3,000.
So maybe it's written up wrong. Alls we asked for
Again,
was.
Mr. Riddle, if you would.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that Mike is picking it up.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry. Alls we asked for was to leave the barn in the location that the barn exists and to allow us to expand it to what the
Ordinance
code
will allow.
allows us to have.
Right.
The maximum.
That's the
size.
maximum, that's all we asked for. We didn't ask for height restrictions, oversize, extra square footage, just to leave it the way it's been for 50-plus years and be able to expand it for their needs within the criteria of what the ordinance reads.
Mr. Ritchie, any comments or questions?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to understand, is that you want to add on to the barn, but you want the total square footage of the barn to be the maximum allowable. by
Correct,
the
so,
township.
so from the last applicant, it was like 29, whatever that number is, which I just, 2966.
Right.
We would not ask for a foot over that. We may not even go to that, but since we had to come here,
But the size of your addition will have to be even smaller than the maximum, because you have to take in the square footage of the current barn as well, so.
yes, and we would stay into the confines of exactly whatever the rules are written for whatever we could add to it. Just keep it in the location, and we want to build a house in the back and take down the house in the front. That's where we ended up after a bunch of meetings.
So really you're asking for the variance to have the barn in the front of the house. So it's
Exactly.
location only is
Yes.
what he's saying, so.
That's exactly what we've been asking for, yep, which it currently exists.
Although a consideration for us as to whether we would allow it to be in the front is the size of it and the effect on the neighborhood. So when you're telling us that you not only want a barn, but you want a barn that's much larger, that's a consideration as to whether or not it would be permissible or appropriate for it to be in front of the house.
Nope, I understand, and alls we're asking for is what would be allowable through the ordinance.
Even what's allowable. What's allowable under the ordinance is you put a very large structure behind the house. What I'm saying is you're asking to put it in front of the house. And when you expand it that greatly over the existing, or just put something in the front yard, a consideration for us is what's the effect on the neighborhood? And to expand it, even to the amount allowed by the ordinance, is a consideration for us. And may be the hook on which we deny it.
Okay?
Megan, any thoughts that you have on this?
What I would offer is, I shared the aerial, I know you had an aerial as well, but I
Yes.
put that up. If you look at the lot that's if it's facing, if it's oriented to the north, the lot to the west or to the left, that's what you call a traditional flag lot. And you can see that it's very skinny on what you would say is the pole. That's no longer allowed. So in the scenario that you were talking about, where there would be the split, they would need a variance from the zoning board of appeals from the lot width in order to facilitate that split. Because as I read their survey, they only have 347 feet of
Yep.
frontage.
But of course, that's the alternative. You're just saying
Yes.
the alternative would also pose
Yes.
difficulties for them.
Yes, and so that's my point.
Okay.
Yes, and that's what took us to the building department.
All right.
And then if this variance was granted to have it in the front yard, unless there was a condition on it limiting the size of the structure, then the structure could be added onto.
I understand, and that's what I was trying to express.
Mhm.
That, for me, is a consideration. Why don't you have a seat and let's hear from the neighbors who want to be heard. Start over on this side of the room. Would you like to be heard? Please, to the lectern, give us your names and addresses.
Good evening, my name's Diane Kosak. This is my husband.
I am Ken Kosak.
We reside at 8360 Ellis Road, immediately to the left of the property we're talking about. We're here tonight to respectfully oppose the case number 26010, the front yard accessory structure variance that's been requested for 8344 Ellis Road. After reviewing the application, the site plan, the elevations, and the neighbor support letter, I believe this request is based on a preferred property layout, not a hardship created by the land itself. The applicants are voluntarily removing an existing home and redesigning the property. Any challenges that result from those choices are self-created and appear inconsistent with the standards normally used to grant a variance. I respectfully ask the board to deny this request based on 5 key points. The first, there's no property hardship or practical difficulty that's been demonstrated. The property is pretty open, 10.58 acres. The parcel has no identified wetlands, steep grades, or other physical constraints preventing a compliant site design. The application does not identify a hardship created by the land itself. In fact, the applicants are proposing to build a new home, retain the existing barn, expand that barn. If the property could not reasonably support development, they would not be able to construct the new home as proposed. The fact that all these improvements can be built demonstrates that the property is fully usable without a variance. The hardship is self-created, number 2. The existing home is being removed by choice, and the property is being redesigned by choice. The ordinance conflict only exists because the applicants have chosen a layout where the new home is placed behind the existing and proposed expanded barn. That's a design decision, not a condition imposed by the property. The issue is not whether the land can be used. The issue is where the applicants prefer to place the structures. Number 3, the elevations and site plan show a preferred layout, not a necessity. The elevations show the proposed home positioned on higher ground while the barn remains in front. That appears to be a deliberate site design decision. The applicants have chosen to place the house farther back on the property while keeping and expanding the barn in front. That may be their preference, but a preferred layout is not the same as a hardship. Number 4, the neighbor support letter does not describe the full request. The single form letter signed by my neighbors speaks exclusively about preserving and improving the existing barn. However, nowhere in that letter does it mention the substantial addition proposed for the structure. There is a significant difference between maintaining an existing 1,600 square foot barn and approving a much larger front yard accessory structure. According to the engineering site plan, they're adding a massive 3,052 square foot expansion, bringing the final footprint to 4,652 square feet. It actually outmeasures the primary home itself. I do not believe the letter accurately reflects the full scope of what the board is being asked to approve, and it does not represent informed neighbor consent. Number 5, this variance would permanently affect the property in the neighborhood. Variances stay with the land permanently. They do not expire when ownership changes. Approving this request would create a permanent exception based on a voluntary site layout rather than a hardship created by the property. Furthermore, the elevations show that the visual impact of this structure falls most directly on our adjacent property at 8360 Ellis Road. Unlike properties further removed and screened by woods, our home, patio, and primary outdoor living area bear 100% of the visual brunt and will continue to experience that impact permanently. This case comes down to me to one simple question: is there a hardship created by the property or practical difficulty itself, or is this a preferred layout chosen by the applicants? The property is large enough, 10.5 acres, to accommodate a new home, retain a barn, and expand that barn with standard zoning guidelines. The problem is not the land, the problem is the chosen layout. For those reasons, I respectfully ask the board to deny the variance request. Thank you, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Hi, I'm Sue Robbins. I live at 8320 Ellis Road. I'm not as good a speaker as Diane, and I still love you both. I guess my thing is, I was born and raised on that property, and my father built that barn. I know this property very well. The terrain is crazy up there. It's the best property you're going to have in Clarkston. And I don't understand should they decide to tear down the house that I grew up in, that's their choice. But I don't know why we have to remove the barn when we're going to tear up the terrain, the trees. We have tons of wildlife there. So by moving the structure, as you're thinking, for whatever reason, it just isn't logical to me. It is a good shaped barn. They're gonna fix it up. It needs shingles. But it's been there since '68. And why Independence Township feels the need to have a barn structure as good a shape as this behind a house. So I see it every day. I'm out in my garage and I see the barn. So I don't understand why we're making an ordeal out of it. But again, Diane, Ken, I'm sorry. But this is property I grew up on. We had horses. That was my horse barn. My dad had a boat. It was his boat barn. And you're getting rid of something or requesting it to be put down when it's in good shape. It's got good bones. And there's no place in the back of the house where they're planning to put it because of the terrain. It's flat land, goes up to a terrain, then it goes up to another hill. You don't have anything else like that in Clarkston. So keep destroying the property by independence ordinance just does not make sense to me. And again, I'm not a very good talker.
Thank you, you did
Very well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? I don't know that I was clear enough before when I said that I think the size bears on whether or not you would grant the variance. And another way of thinking about that is that the size that you're allowed by the ordinance assumes that the accessory structure will be behind the principal residence. So that's not the case here, and that's why I think I have an issue with this. It's also the case, of course, that we say that we should be maintaining the existing barn, but you're dramatically enlarging. Anybody else on the board have any further thoughts, comments?
Well, we're gonna agree that this has to be tabled until September?
It will not be tabled technically, I don't think.
No, I think it would,
It has to be renoticed.
it has to be renoticed, so I would just say that you were asking for
You
it
know
to
what,
be renoticed.
I take it back. Why don't you make a motion to table it, just so we have that continuity of the record.
Well, I guess I want to say one more thing. I understand that it's very hilly up by the proposed driveway, and it looks like it goes, you said up, I think, or down, actually down. Up and down, yeah. You know, if you feel that there is a high risk of putting, of this board putting a structure, approving a structure to be in front of the house, I would appreciate it if you would put some effort into moving the house a little bit, what I believe is south and west. And maybe I've got that wrong, but a little bit on the drawing, or on the,
I think of Ellis Road.
a little, I would appreciate if you would consider trying to relocate the house a little bit and putting the structure, the new pole barn, at the end of the apron, between the property line and the apron. That's what I would request that you consider. If you're worried that we will not approve a structure in front of the house. Am I confusing everybody?
Well, I mean, the other point I think Megan made too is that we could make the size of the barn, if we allowed it to stay, we could make the size of the barn, could limit it by a condition. Just a consideration. And I'm not disagreeing with your idea that it should be made differently, because after all, with the amount, if you're gonna improve the existing barn and add to it so dramatically, it's essentially building a new accessory structure.
Right, which may be bringing up another idea. If you want to leave the existing structure there and build another new barn behind the structure, that would have to be a variant also, wouldn't it, I guess?
Two accessory structures.
Two accessory structures.
I
Two
think,
under the.
But one's in
ordinance.
front of the house still.
I would,
You still need the variance for in front, so.
I think on a lot this large, you could have two
Two.
accessory structures, detached accessory structures. There's just a limitation in the size.
Right, but my point is, since you're tearing down the house, you technically have to tear down the existing barn also. So would they be, I think I'm really muddying the waters, but I would really appreciate seeing an alternative solution with the barn being moved to the upper right corner of the apron of the driveway.
Well, after all, that is one of our considerations
Right.
under the ordinance,
Right.
is if there's a different route. Anyone else?
I guess to expand on what you were saying, even if the alternative shows it can't be done there, they should show that as evidence, maybe why it can't fit there.
You would have to sell to us why that's not an acceptable.
So I think that's what David was getting at. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's like, hey,
As
show me,
opposed to-
show me it can't fit there or something.
Right.
As opposed to a preference.
Right.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that we do look at is if it's, and like one of the residents brought up too, this is a design choice or personal preference. And we don't make we don't grant variances based on this is what I wanna do. It's more of, I have to because there's no other options, so.
Even more strongly, we're not allowed to.
Yeah, well, yeah, technically, we're just not allowed to, so.
Chair would,
Ask another question?
Sure.
Given what everybody has said here, if we were to, I know we got a new application, whatever it is we have to do, but if we were to leave the barn and just fix the barn up, I know that's still in front of the house, but not expand the barn, try to reposition the house, we got a accessory area later in the back, would that in general be acceptable? Because I know, well, we're
We can't-
asking, we're all just talking, so.
Yeah, we can't make a decision this evening, and there will be one more of us at the next meeting, so.
Well, I believe your question has to go to the building department first. And I think your question is, if I tear down the house, I leave the existing barn where it is, and I build the new house where it is, do I need a variance?
Yes.
No, I only need a variance, yes.
We still need a
We
variance.
still need a variance for the barn.
Okay.
Right.
I know that. What I was
Okay.
suggesting, or just throwing out there, since this is a fact-finding thing, is that the barn that's been there for 70 years, if we were to, I'm just trying to get, we're trying to move forward in the community and build a beautiful home. So if we were to leave the barn as is, still have to have a variance on the existing barn. And I worked with the building department to stay in touch with them on building a new home and finding another place for an accessory building, which we're pretty positive we're allowed to have with that acreage. Can we get any feedback at all, what your flavor would be? Because we're trying to compromise and get this
Yeah,
completed.
but I think, again, to understand some of the requirements that we have, it is to have you demonstrate to us that you couldn't do this without a variance. That you couldn't have an accessory structure on this property without a variance.
Yep.
So,
So it has to be so
That-
far off the
that
property
is-
line.
separate and apart from your question, you ought to at least be doing, I think, some sort of alternate layout that you can then show us doesn't work.
Right, and I
You
can
got
do
to
that
s-
for you. We've
You
done
got to
it.
see the prior.
We've already done it.
you
But
got to
I have that information.
Okay,
So that's all we're trying to do is, what I got out of this was that either the existing barn, no matter what, is a variance. Whether we can add on to it and do a lesser square footage seems to be something to be talked about. And/or the neighbors here that look at that barn, I'm asking for some help in this so that we can move forward.
I think we've done
This is
the-
just an open forum.
Yep,
Why
I think
why
you've-
can't we get that?
I think you've gotten a lot of good
Can we come back?
information.
Can I make a clarification? Just, so,
Yeah.
to your question.
Yeah.
We're not suggesting that you have to tear down the barn or do anything. We don't have a problem with the barn. I like the barn. What we're saying is, there's already a house there with a barn behind it, which is to the ordinance. We're saying that if you tear that house down, the current one, then put your new house there, and you don't need a variance. But the choice is to put it behind the barn, which is then forcing the idea of tearing the barn down. I don't want the barn torn down. I'm okay with the barn. What we're saying is, put the house in front of the barn. That's all.
Very good, thank you.
I mean, like it is now.
I understand.
That's all I'm saying.
The chair would entertain a motion to table this matter.
Yes,
So moved.
so moved.
By case number? Case number 26010. You're moving to table this to the next meeting, Mr. Zurich?
Yes.
Is there support?
I'll support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up, the rules.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we had the proposed zoning Board of Appeals rules of procedure. I got a chance to look at them last week, marked up a handwritten copy, and then realized that I really should be doing a red line for everybody to see, but didn't do that till this afternoon. So if you didn't check your email, you didn't get it. Most of there's some, lawyer language things in here. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it. There are other things that were still included in here that are nothing we have the authority over. And it says, for instance, in the opening paragraph, that these rules are adopted by the ZBA and the Board of Trustees. These are not the Board of Trustees rules, these are our rules. And,
Mr. Wallace?
yeah,
It was my understanding that within the township's rules, the township board approves the rules of procedures for both the ZBA and planning commission, which is unusual.
I'd need to see that, then I was unaware of it.
Okay,
If you just shoot me a reference to it.
Sure.
I don't know why they'd be approving our rules, but, I guess stranger things. Another just quick example, and you'll all get a chance to look at it, and probably this is something we should be looking at again more at the next meeting, so everybody has a chance, including Jim, to weigh in on these. I didn't see anything in here on alternates, and I don't know where the township board has gotten to on that whole issue.
It's all been, the ordinance has been approved to allow for alternates.
Okay.
Do we have an alternate?
We have 2 candidates that have not been appointed.
Okay.
Bearing we're just basically waiting for the bylaws to be approved.
Well, I thought we did some special rules, just so you could go forward with that.
That's what I presented, and I was told to wait. I was asked to wait till these bylaws were done.
Okay,
That means that
Well-
needs to be in here.
It would-
pardon me?
That means the alternate language needs to be in here, then, right?
Yeah, I believe that there should be some alternate, I did see some of I did see your email today that you sent out, and I do believe, and from what I understand, there should be some duplication of the ordinance in the bylaws, of just basically echoing what's already in the ordinance in the bylaws as well.
I don't know why that would be, because, again, these are not bylaws, they're rules of our procedures.
Okay, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, those other rules we're already bound by, so I don't know why the redundancy. If it's just to put us on notice, then that's a pretty weak reason. I did note, though, under the quorum section, I just put the word alternates, because we have no rules here with how the alternates will be called, how they'll be selected. Was there anything in the ordinance that was passed that?
No. It was
So
clear
can
that
we
you just said.
find some
it'll-
language somewhere?
Yeah, it just said we are allowed
Um,
2 alternates.
You're allowed 2 alternates. I think what the township's board asks from you is to include in these rules of procedure how alternates will be chosen, because you have to, and what the expectation is for them to, like, do they attend meetings? Do they not? Do they attend via Zoom, via Teams? And
Would they
then
be-
the main question I got from board members was, how are you choosing which alternate is called? So do you go in alphabetical order?
Was it, I mean, if they appoint an alternate 1 and an alternate 2, then do we always go to alternate 1, or do we rotate?
That's the question to you. And they're asking you to propose something and put
Yeah,
it
but
in
there's
these.
nothing like that in here.
No, I
Is there no
think
place you can steal us some alternate language?
I can steal some alternate language and bring
Alright.
it back for September.
What do we think about that, about how we would deal with the alternates? Should
Well,
we,
who normally calls the alternate?
it would, well, we haven't,
I don't think they're on-
I don't think it's been done at the ZBA, I don't even think they had
Well, I
alternates.
used to be alternate.
You did?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Did you serve? They call you to serve?
Yeah, every 6 months or,
Really?
Okay,
Typically, it's the zoning administrator who then knows that someone will be absent and then notifies that the alternate.
the alternate.
why
To be
would,
there.
why would
Were
Why
you-
would I care who gets called next?
I don't know, but the township board is asking us to come up with some rules for how we
Well-
want the alternates handled.
In the past, there was only been
Were you
one
only one
alternate.
alternate?
Yes, in the past.
Okay. There was only one of you, so that wasn't an
Yeah.
issue.
And then the last alternate we had was never called, and the one before that was Bill Scarborough, and he was called two or three times.
Okay?
So,
Um,
you know, that's the thing, do you do it by lottery, do you do it just rotate? What if you call the alternate and says, I can't make it that night anyway, or something? You don't
That's the
know.
easy call.
Right,
Yeah.
right, so you know who you're gonna have, you have a choice than to use them, but,
What doesn't, are we saying it has to be two people? So,
They're- We're allowed two people,
well, that's what I'm getting at, it's like,
and that's how they passed the ordinance, that they're gonna appoint two, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't mean we have to use two, but, I mean, if you're appointed,
what
you
I'm
would think
saying.
you'd,
say we're allowed to, but we say, hey, we're just gonna use one, and so they haven't,
What if we need to?
two people were missing, same,
Yeah.
could be,
you
yeah.
know,
Not likely, but
it's happened,
has it?
Happened
Yep,
last
it's
April,
happened.
yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
happened.
Last
When
April.
I was on vacation, I think, kid might have been on vacation at the same time.
Yeah, I think there was, it's
Around
happened,
Easter
it's,
time.
it's happened in the past, for sure,
Right.
so.
No, what it was is, we ended up not having a meeting that time.
I think
That day.
the only easy way to do it is just have it rotate. One time, one the next.
Yep.
That keeps everybody's
And
attention.
if you can't make it, then we'll go back to the person who, that wasn't their turn, yeah.
So then the question is, would they be required to attend meetings when they're not sitting as a member of the ZBA? I think it should be optional because they can watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Well, it all depends
I think you
on
definitely want them,
whether-
I'm sorry.
You know, the only benefit of having them come there, if somebody, say, like, somebody doesn't show up for some reason, you know,
Got sick or something
Like
on the way.
unexcused
yeah.
absence.
An unexcused absence at the last moment.
so, I guess that was the only thing we talked, like, there was some conversation about having at least one of them attend every meeting, whatever.
Alternating their attendance.
Strongly encourage.
So, well,
Yeah.
geez, if it's part of the rules, then
Yeah.
let's just drop
Once
out.
you require, they should be paying.
Right.
That's what, I guess that was the next question, it's like, if you're gonna require them to come, then
Yeah,
you must,
that,
gonna pay them.
and they should be compensated,
Yeah.
sure.
So.
That's why I was thinking, just
Yeah.
have one come to the meeting.
If you're requiring people to be in person at the meeting, I would ask you to consider putting in to the rules of procedure that that person may not participate in the public hearings as a member of the public.
Make a note of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although,
Then why not?
why not? Because unless they have a conflict, which we've defined here,
Yeah,
I've had that happen,
yeah,
and it was,
awkward.
awkward. It was very awkward. It was a smaller community as well, but it was very awkward, and also, the chair and later the city attorney felt like if that person was the only alternate to be called later into the case, then they've already participated.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to have a rule one way or the other. But
What-
see what you find when you start stealing stuff for us.
Just the other thing about having a person, somebody in person here, is like if something comes up and somebody recuses themselves, then, do we want the alternate to come in at that point?
yeah, if they're in attendance, they should, I think. yeah.
Well, I guess that's,
Yeah.
again.
Well, but then-
Yeah, that's, I think you're right,
It's like
yeah.
another-
Then we gotta get past strongly encourage and require it.
Require it,
and then-
yeah.
And then we've got an expense.
Well, I'm just saying, it's another reason why we wanted to, I guess, to be here and be paid, and like they're on call, ready to go, if something happens.
Right.
A lot of things can happen.
Right, I understand, but,
I mean,
But that's the reason you have alternates.
I don't,
Is to figure out the options. Right?
I guess the other thing is, like I said.
You were the alternate.
yes.
I mean, speak from your experience. Did you think it mattered whether you attended the meetings or not?
I think from my vantage point, the member, when I would show up and I had very little to no experience, the other members would help guide you.
Okay?
And it was on-the-job training in a sense. And I don't think you need to make it any harder than that.
So, to you, that bodes for not having them attend meetings?
Just be on call.
I think it's a challenge if you're gonna be an alternate to have to come to every meeting.
Okay?
What's the purpose of the word alternate then?
Sure.
It-
Well, but
the definition changes.
What Ron's saying is somebody has to recuse themselves. Seems like they'd know in advance.
They should.
Yeah.
Just like being absent, you should know
But
that,
still,
so
normally
can
you
call.
would, you
Right.
set yourself up to have, 5 people here, right? So
Sure.
one person drops off, okay.
Forgot something.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
You're just saying you don't
you're-
think we
you're-
have
you're-
to
you're
plan
making a
for every
safety- You're making a
contingency.
safety effect for a safety effect, you know, it's like you're really,
We don't
I'm
have to
saying-
plan for every contingency, is what you're saying.
please don't.
Yeah, I was just talking out loud as far as should they be here in
Yeah,
person?
yep,
or,
yep.
whatever.
I understand that.
Should the township be paying for them to go get educated, like what
Yes.
we had?
Yes.
You know, whenever that was, last winter,
March, I think it was.
was it March?
Yeah, over the 3 years I've been here, I've been to 3 training, maybe 4 training.
Okay.
And
Any of those when you were still an
I'm
alternate?
trying to remember. Maybe not, but nothing was copied to me, so
And that is the other.
whether something was offered, I don't know that, but I don't think I attended anything.
Should the alternates be getting our package? I tend to think so. It's a way of them getting educated even, huh?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, even if they're,
And the packet's online available
Yeah,
anyway.
they can get the email and refuse to look at it if they want to, I mean, that's up to them, right? But at least they should be notified, say, hey,
it is online, but I'm still
Like it-
thinking,
at least get
notified.
yeah,
I'd
notified.
notify them, I'd put it in their inbox so they have a chance to look at it. They can ignore it if they choose, but it would be a way to,
Keep them in.
yeah, keep them in the loop. And as Ken suggested, begin to get educated about it all.
Because it's hard enough to sit up at this dais, to be, you're just walking off the street and then you're sitting down and you're hearing a case. I mean, and not heard anything, and no education, that's tough. I mean, it can be tough for certain people. May not have been, might have been, I don't know what Ken's experience was specifically, but, for some people, it's just to sit here and
I
talk
think
is
somebody,
sometimes
I think
difficult.
somebody that's looking to be the alternate
Yeah.
has an idea of what they might be up against.
Sure.
Or, it's not like you're grabbing the person next to Myers and saying you're the alternate. It's not. I mean, there's a prereq built into the system already.
Just that somebody wanted to have the job
Yes.
in the first place,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I think that's what Penny was talking out loud, we just want them to be on call whenever, somebody contacts them and, as opposed to being here in person.
So we probably not, well, let's see what Megan comes up in terms of what other communities use when she steals us some language. And that will also inform our decision, perhaps.
But I do think it's important that the township pay for at least one training, at least one,
I do too.
But you had said that the last time we looked at these, you felt those weren't appropriate in the rules of procedure. That was something,
Nope,
since.
I agree, I still agree with that. But
Since that's
that doesn't
something-
mean, we don't have to put in our rules for the township to agree to pay for it.
right? And that can be in the ordinance if you, again,
It could be in the ordinance, or it could be,
to amend the ordinance again.
it could be
Right.
in the ordinance, or it could be part of the motion to appoint,
Oh, yeah,
right?
Say that again.
yes,
It could be in the ordinance, but you could be moving, the township board could be saying, okay, I'm gonna appoint Mr. Riddle
yeah,
to the zoning board of appeals, and at the same time authorize him to have this and such training at the expense of the township. Could be right in the motion.
yeah.
Well, I guess the other thing too is whenever there's, full board training, like we've had a couple times where somebody comes in.
Everything's
who
offered.
doesn't.
If
To
it's
me-
Carlisle coming in,
Well,
or
yeah,
somebody from
I'm
his
just saying,
office.
whenever it's something that's happening here, to me,
They're
any
invited.
owner should be invited to,
Oh,
attend,
yeah.
I agree with that.
to have that same training.
Yeah, I had in my mind that, when we went over to Washtenaw Community College, wasn't it?
Well, to me, those, we can make it so those are, if they wanna do that, that they can get reimbursed for that if they wanna do that, or get.
Yeah, it's gonna be up to the board, I don't think we necessarily.
But I say, the other one, it doesn't really cost you more money to have, if it's in-house training. And if
Exactly,
somebody
I agree.
presented to us
Yeah,
that
no, I
the
agree
owners
with you.
should be here, for that same training.
We don't have anything in these rules of procedure about training, so I think that would be just something that we would do. Just a smart thing to do.
Just to have them included with everything, because like one day, see, next thing you know, somebody leaves or you don't know what can happen, and now the alternate says, I would like this, you're picking to who's going to permanently replace somebody, so.
Well, and let's,
if they're interested.
and I'll pledge to do this too, I'll try, Megan, don't wait for the packet to get us whatever you can steal from somebody else.
Okay.
Get it to us ahead of time and,
We wanna critique your work as quick as possible.
well, no, I just wanna get closer to the township board actually appointing an alternate.
Right.
We could have had one tonight.
Yeah.
Anything else? Chair would entertain a motion to end the meeting.
Move to
What
adjourn.
about that meeting
adjourn.
minutes? We can-
Oh, wait, do we have?
Oh,
to-
we had
oh,
meeting
sorry.
minutes, I'm sorry. I didn't have any objection to them.
No.
Thank you.
All right, I'll move to approve the meeting minutes of the May sixth, 2026 meeting, ZBA meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.